He's way less sexy. I love it.
Yep. I love it, though. All right, everybody.
It's Mick at Night. It's such a delight. Hey, everybody, it's Mick at Night. Filmed live in front of a studio audience.
Well, and by audience, we mean my dog.
I love it. I don't care who's watching or not. I just have fun. I get to hang out with people, talk about things I love, like the Miyagi line, which is the best.
Tonight's Master Shake is brought to you by Dragon's Milk Origin, small batch. Yeah,
don't need the mixology for this one. Just pour it smooth.
Just pour it in a glass. Pour it in a glass and enjoy.
I love it, man. You're going old school. You're going nice and easy this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's kind of rainy, cool here in Michigan. I had it's probably about 55 degrees.
Yeah,
about 55, which is cooler than normal for September for Michigan. So we were having Oktoberfest at the restaurant tonight. I had pierogies. Do you guys in Virginia know what pierogies are?
All right. I'm not from under a rock.
Assume that people from Virginia are under rocks. Or is that West Virginia?
West Virginia's under the rocks. They live in the rocks. I love them, but they live in the rocks.
I had just to celebrate fall. I had pierogies and an Oktoberfest, and now I'm enjoying a nice pour of bourbon.
I'm a big German food fan. I don't get to eat it often, but I am a big German food fan. I love pierogies. So yeah, I mean, we used to, when I lived in Florida, we used to go down. There was like a German restaurant, but it was also a butcher shop, and it was also had the cheeses, any delicacy you could get from Germany, and it was straight out of Germany. You can go down there, but pierogies, my father made them growing up for dinner. So we ate that a lot.
So the potato inside them was spicy. I don't know how they did it.
I think if you mix it with any type of spices and then just make I guess they make the pierogies, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a potato filled ravioli, really, isn't it? I don't know what isn't it just pasta? Is it normal pasta or not?
I see. I don't know. That's the funny part. Tastes like pasta, but like a ravioli shape. But you could I hate to say this especially because it's food, but you could squirt it in. I don't know why that feels so wrong to say. And I did squirt it in. I don't really like that, guys.
You ever see those memes? That are alternative ways to say that you're ready to, to go? And it's the worst phrases in the world. It's look out, here comes the splooge. Look at all these different sayings for it. And I'm nobody, I really hope nobody in the history of time has ever said any of these lines, but they're pretty rough.
Get wet.
One of these times I'm gonna get canceled on Mick at Night of all shows. Somebody's gonna
because that's not, you didn't say anything bad. You quoted something. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't want people to say it. Is my point.
That's what I mean.
What I'm sporting tonight, though. I see you are people hurt.
Oh yeah, the USS. Yeah, there it is. Do you see? I wore this for you.
Love it. I got it.
Both available on snobsmerch.com.
What's up, Jason?
Jason.
Okay, Jason can't join tonight?
Dan rocking Fred Durst. He loves his Fred Durst.
Mick, I'm going to text you a picture so Jason can see this because I don't think Jason has seen this.
Oh, I can't wait. Let me see. And then, all right. So let's get started with the not the Mendoza line. The Miyagi line is what we came up with.
Yeah, the Miyagi line.
Because it's movies, and everybody knows the crane kick sucks. So actually, let me explain it to anybody who missed our episode where we got into it. Guys, so this is a Dan, completely an idea, and I think it's fantastic. And we'll explain the Mendoza line in a second because it's more towards sports. But we have made the Miyagi line. Now, Dan, I'm going to let you explain.
Mick, for some reason, I just went mute. I can't hear you. I'm dead serious. Can you hear me?
God damn, my plug on this sucks.
Oh, it was on your. Okay, so the Mendoza line in baseball. The best way to explain it is an absolutely average hitter. Okay, so take all things considered. They figured out every season essentially that the average hitter should be able to average around 220. And that's the Mendoza line. It kind of flexes up or down in any given year, but it's essentially the statistical average batter in baseball. And they call it the Mendoza line because it's named after a player whose last name is Mendoza. And he stayed in Major League Baseball for like 15 years, constantly hit this, and was just a good fielder. So it's the statistical average player. And so my suggestion to you, and after thinking about it a lot, I really like calling it the Miyagi line, because I do think if you take all three Karate Kid movies, put them together, you have an average franchise, like statistical average franchise. So I like the idea of the Miyagi line being what to film, what the Mendoza line is to baseball.
I love it. So what's a 220 average in movies, do you think?
That's right. So to me, a 220 average in movies would be a movie that, to put it as generally as possible, is watchable. Okay. So you would sit down and watch this movie without a whole lot of offensive complaint, and maybe it's not the greatest, it's not even a good movie, but it's a movie that is watchable. And when you finish it, you're like, yeah, it was okay, or it was watchable, or, and so to me, in terms of a film, maybe it doesn't have, you have a couple ways to reach this. I feel like maybe everything is done averagely. So like, I think about like a Michael Bay film, right? Everything is done watchably. It is created for the most number of people to watch it, right? Inoffensive, all of this stuff, like
that was a good one.
That's a good one.
Could you turn me off too? Chris is here.
So you have that averageness, right?
What's up, fellas?
What's up? And then the other version,
Miyagi line for movies for us right now.
Commenting. Make this live. I have so many
it's live right now.
Oh.
You're not commenting.
Literally live right now.
What?
And then the other side really is, maybe you have something that is really good in one category, but really bad in enough other categories that it pulls it to being average. And I would think about, something like, what is a great? I'm trying to think of a great example of this.
I think Miyagi, the Karate Kid's a good example.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's
a well done movie, and it's so great, and we love it. But that fucking crane kick ruins a lot of it for me. It is.
It's a penalty. It's a penalty. It should be a penalty,
right? It should have been. He should have been. Let's face facts, because kick to the head, or any type of strike to the head was illegal.
Yeah,
kicked him in the face. And for some reason, I think they forgot in that time of the fight, when they explained the rules in the beginning to the end. They think we forgot or something. I get it.
They forgot.
Danielson got a lot of black eyes in that movie, but doesn't mean he can break the rules. I love the Miyagi line. I love when you explain this to me. I've been so excited to sit and talk about it. We're going to talk about film fans tonight. So I have one I want to throw out your way. And that is Big Trouble in Little China. I love the Miyagi line. I think it's the right amount of campy.
Okay.
It's the right amount of craziness, for a movie, but still makes sense and tells a good story that you really enjoy and it's characters we love. So I think even let's face facts, out of all the John Carpenter movies, that's the most zany and all over the place. And that's saying something, because he made Ghost of Mars too, which was a really well done.
Ghost of Mars is pretty batshit crazy. I was like,
so for me, I think that passes the Miyagi line because I think nostalgia helps it. Kurt Russell definitely helps it, and John Carpenter. But
so you don't think it's average? You would put it above the Miyagi line?
I would put that. I think that movie stands above, personally. What do you say, Chris?
I really enjoy the Trouble in Little China. It has a crazy cult following, but there's something about Karate Kid, and it's the effect of Karate Kid. That's that unexplainable thing. It's almost like love. You can't truly comprehend love, but the love for Karate Kid is also one of those things you can't truly comprehend.
True. I guess cult classics really fall in that line. Dan, for you with the Miyagi line, where would cult classics fall into? Like
this is hard because you got to like you and I talked about this. The whole point, Chris, is to develop something that you can compare to, because too often in films, what we were talking about is people don't compare something to, if it's good, they don't compare something to something that's like just kind of average. They compare it to something terrible.
Right. Either the one extreme on one side or
Which
the
is a
extreme
bad,
on the
that's
other
a
side.
that is a bad method of evaluating anything, because if you look at data, those things are like, so, okay, I'm never going to compare a movie to The Godfather Part 2. I'm never going to compare a movie to The Godfather Part 2. It's a masterpiece from start to finish. It's well crafted. The script is phenomenal. It's well acted. Like, you know, I'm not going to take, not even like, there's just this whole host of movies. I just put them, Mick and I have talked about this. I put it in a category of its own. S-Class, right? I would put Jurassic World below the Mendoza line.
I would put everything except for Jurassic Park below the Mendoza.
Like I
like them, but they're not.
Yeah, we got to say Miyagi because like it's other people don't.
Miyagi line.
I was like, wait, what's the Mendoza line?
Sorry, yeah. I think
dinos are always great, but fascinating. I love it.
The movie that originally came to mind for me with this wasn't necessarily the Karate Kid trilogy, because there is the nostalgia. But if you remove the nostalgia, Mick's right. If you remove the nostalgia, first of all, that first movie is sad. Yeah. As a young man, I didn't realize how sad it was. If I watch that as an adult now, I'm like, wow, this is a sad movie.
Wait, which movie?
The first Karate Kid.
Sad? You think it's sad? I mean, I think it's pretty chilling because how much they go after him, but
I get choked up about Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, that's that's why this movie belongs. That's the Miyagi line, because he gives such a brilliant. You could win an Oscar if they weren't racist at the time performance.
Yeah,
you know.
But meanwhile, you have this like worse Rocky story, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Rocky is 100% above.
Oh, Rocky's great. I'm just saying, like, Danielson is worse Rocky. Like,
I want to hear from both of you on this. All right, Dan, you first, then Chris. I'm going to say a Rocky movie. You tell me above or below. Okay? We've established Rocky.
This is good. I feel like the Rocky franchise is a good examination of the Miyagi line. So yeah, I'm into this.
So this is how we're going to stretch it. This is how we're going to really analyze the Miyagi line. Rocky 2.
Above
for me. Chris, what about you?
Above
for me, because I think it's a better version of Rocky with the win in the end. It's basically the same thing.
I like it. I put it
Rocky
above.
But the win.
Apollo Creed goes beyond being a villain in it. That's why I put it above.
Very true. Yep. Rocky 3.
Below.
Okay.
And I love that movie. I love it. But do not come for me, people. I love Rocky 3.
I love Rocky 3.
Dolph Lundgren?
No, it's Clubber Lang.
Mr. T is 3.
Yeah. Clubber Lang, Mr. T. Ooh.
I love Rocky 3, but it is not an average film. It is a below average. It's corny.
Yeah, I would probably give it like a 4 or 5.
So below the line then.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go with that too. Here's where it's going to get interesting. Rocky 4.
Below.
Wow, I was not.
I love that film. I like Jason. Don't come. I love Rocky 4. I love Rocky 4, but it's just bad shit crazy. It is bad shit crazy. The plot. So the plot alone is just bonkers. First of all, honestly, the flow of shots doesn't make sense. When you're crafting the script, why is the first part so slow and the second part so fast? And there's no real middle to that film. There's no middle to that film.
I love Rockies. Oh, every Rocky movie. 4 is great. And Chris, I want to hear what yours is, but I just want to point out I love them all. But that movie, the best part is the music, and it belongs below the line for me. I might have to break your face.
I sent you the picture, Nick. If you want to throw it up there at any point, I sent you the picture.
Chris, what do you got?
I got the above. That's the one of the ones that always sticks in my head, and that's one of the ones that, like, to me, even though it has its flaws, again, I just hold it in higher regard, despite that. It's one of those unexplainable things.
Okay, I love it. That's fine. I mean, listen, we all have different opinions, and that's the best part. I'm gonna ask, Rocky V. Do we even have to?
It's below.
3, 4 or under.
It's below, but it's not as far below as I think a lot of people would rate it.
I think out of the entire franchise, that's the farthest below for me.
Yeah, it is. It's the lowest, but people will talk about that as one of the worst films of all time, and I disagree. I guess
I don't get it.
No, I don't think it's the worst. What do you think?
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair movie. It is below the line for this exercise here, but in retrospect of the entire series, it's fair. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's kind of just right under average. I would put that.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like where you're coming from, and I like the explanations too.
That's a great franchise to use it to examine too.
Because we're not done. We still have Rocky Balboa and 3 after that. So Rocky Balboa, I'm above the line on Rocky Balboa.
Way above. Rocky Balboa is the best in the franchise. I know Rocky won the award, all that stuff. Rocky Balboa is a phenomenal film, and not just because it was like a return to one of my favorite parts of the series or anything like that. Rocky Balboa is it develops Rocky as a sympathetic character, which does not happen since 1. It introduces this idea of aging, which I think is huge. I love the introduction of Mason Dixon as his like foil. I think that's a great way to put it, because Mason Dixon was, essentially he's young. The boxer from 1 and 2. Oh shoot. Apollo. He's young Apollo. Yeah. Like I love the contrasted characters in that film and the development of it, and the speech that he gives to his son is something that I have said to students many times in my life. And I think it is the greatest advice that a person can give. It's not about how hard you can get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. And like, even removing nostalgia from the film, I think it is well crafted from beginning to end. The original version had Rocky losing straight out the match. And I think that the choosing to go with the ending where it goes to them just standing in the middle of the ring, throwing punches, and then the bell ringing and the decision going to Mason Dixon, I think was great, because it's this callback to the first one. And I think it's a better film. I think it's a better film than the original. I put it, if the original to me would be like a third tier movie, like a B to an A, I put it directly at an A. It is an A film.
Here's my argument for you. And Chris, I do not mean to interject on you, but I need to make an argument to put the end. So, I love Rocky Balboa. It's if I'm not counting the Creed movies, out of the Rocky story, it's my second favorite behind Rocky. And here's why I disagree with what you're saying, because the impact of that movie solely rests on what Rocky was and how iconic that movie is. And if it doesn't exist, then you get something like that other boxing movie he and De Niro did, Grudge Match, that just is old people boxing and it sucks. You got to give Rocky the upper hand first on this, because he's a southpaw. So shut up.
I boxed southpaw. That's how I boxed, even though I'm right-handed. Like, Chris, what do you think? Above?
I mean, it's definitely above. There's no way to contest it. I mean, if I was reviewing the movie, I'd probably give it somewhere around 8. I'd give the original a 7.5. It depends on my day on which one I would flip flop. Honestly, I'd probably change another day if you said it. You know what I mean? But it all depends. But at that point,
I gave a convincing argument, right? It's because I didn't like.
No, I mean, but you give great points, you know what I mean? And it's all the things that really does make a great movie, and the way it's shot and put together to loop stories back and bring back generational thing to help bring it to the masses of the new modern audiences as well. But then kind of shows you that even like all along, this Rocky isn't really a story really truly just about Rocky. It's about this other situation. It's about his nemesis, right? We all got a nemesis, or we all have
Things in the
someone we compete
basement.
with. Yeah.
He
You
says
know?
it. There's still stuff in the basement.
Yep.
Knock it out. That's right. I love it. So, okay, let's move on because there's 3 more, and I'm counting them because he's in them.
Okay.
Well, he's in 2. Creed, above for me.
Above.
Yep.
It's well crafted. It's well crafted. I don't know. So there are some parts that I'm kind of like, meh, but like it's above. I mean, it's above. Like it was just really hard for me at certain parts with his girlfriend to stay engaged with it. I'm trying to remember the actress's name, Mick, and I can't.
Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, it was hard for me to stay engaged in that part of his story. It wasn't like I just was like I get why with the original it's a love story, right? Yeah. Like I get why it's introduced, but how they did it, I would have preferred the Apollo or like to be. I would have preferred it to the first one to just be about Rocky and his son,
right?
Yeah. And then the sequel, it's like, oh, he's has a love interest. Mm-hmm. Like it just felt like it was a little. It also kind of put Rocky against her to a certain extent, and I didn't love that.
Right.
Like I don't know. There were just individual moments that keeps it for me right around like Rocky 2 level.
Okay.
Like, they're just individual nitpicky things that are just preference based, honestly. But
Chris, what about you, man? What do you think?
My one of my complaints about that movie was the whole love interest. Although it's needed at times to give you some more of the dramatics of the movie, it's not, because it's a fight movie. There's adversarial things occurring anyway. There's the training, there's the back and forth. So you don't always necessarily need to throw something mushy in the realm of romance into it, because there's enough tension and angst going on with the situation at hand anyway in these types of movies. But I do understand why they do it. Not only do people relate to it, but also real life is going on for these athletes as well in the middle of training, so they kind of want to convey that portion as well. But for me, tunnel in on the rise, tunnel in on the journey and the training, and then the climax of the fight and who is the better fighter will always be a hands down better movie to me than anything that has forced like relations interjected into it.
I love that. That is great. I love that. Both your takes are amazing, and here's why they're wrong. So, I'm kidding. They're not wrong. No opinion's ever wrong. I will say this. I've said this many, many times about the Rocky movies, and the only people who ever really agree with me are filmmakers. So I'm anxious to see how this goes. Rocky was never a boxing or sports movie. Rocky is a movie about humanity and taking sports stars and showing that humanity of them. Now, here's the thing. Rocky IV did not follow that. Rocky IV is a boxing movie. And that is why when it changed up and it became a movie about boxing in that movie, it worked and it was so glorious, but I think Stallone knew at that moment, I need to go back to Rocky V where there's humanity in it. And people didn't follow him with it because they were just like, no, we want Rocky fighting. Rocky IV was too big. We fought communism. Let's keep this train rolling.
I wrote a whole paper about how Rocky IV, just because the capitalism side of it helped defeat communism.
But I think it bears down more than that. I really think it comes down to once they took the humanity out of Rocky, which they were teetering. There was a bigger balance in 3 compared to 2 and 1.
I can see
that.
So
when that balance starts shifting and you have 2 fights now and you have so now it's becoming more of a boxing movie. When you get to 4 and it's completely a boxing sports movie and that's what's about.
Oh yeah, like completely.
Everybody's revved up. It's about capitalism. It's about taking down communism. It's the 80s. It's crazy. So
the Russians even are juiced Russians.
Right? I mean, and now by this point you get Rambo movies. So there's so much going into it and you get the testosterone of it. That 1990 rolls around, there is no more communism to fight. He wants to bring it back to his storytelling and bring it back to humanity, and nobody's along for the ride. They're like, what is this? This isn't Rocky. When in reality, it's always been, and that's what it's supposed to be. And thank God for Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies for bringing it back. But Creed 2, which we're talking about now,
Better
screwed
boxing.
it up again, and he had to bring it back for 3. Now, Creed 2, where are you guys at?
Below.
I hold it like right at the line, just barely over at best.
Okay, dig it. I get it.
I mean, like, my biggest criticism is just that, like, I don't think we need the level of drama associated with Rocky. Like, I get what they're trying to do in terms of making him vulnerable and like allowing Creed to like rise above like needing his training and stuff. I get that. We already lived through it with Mick. Like, why does Rocky have to follow Mick's path in terms of this? Like, we don't have to make him that frail. Like, it's unnecessary. I think it's an unnecessary part of the exposition, personally.
Well, he had cancer.
I mean, I was gonna say, I think it's just a natural passing of the torch, you know.
But why do you have to? It can't just be a situation like, I don't have anything more to teach you. Like, why does it have to, like...
No, I think that's perfect. I think that's what it is. Because, again, it's about the humanity and the breaking down. And that's what I can compare this to the Indiana Jones franchise, too, and how that did a perfect thing of chronological order of one man who was in the height of his life, and he was the true adventurer that we all aspire to, now old and broken down and suffering through time. And now that's the same with Rocky. You have to give him cancer. He watched so many people he loved die of cancer. Now he gets it. Now he still loves people. He has a family again. He cares about baby Creed. He loves this whole thing. And he's so frail and he's old. It's not a Mickey thing. Mickey was down and out as it was when he started. That's why he's so frail. And he was always small anyway. Rocky breaking down and showing us that his humanity isn't always going to be in its strength. It's going to be in its wisdom.
You did not sell me on it, Mick.
Oh, I tried.
You tried. You gave me good my problem is just, like, I don't, in the narrative and how it goes, I think that there are a lot more organic ways than like going to cancer. I get that other people died of it. The other part was a shame on Talia Shire for not coming back for those 2 films, like or 3 films really. Like,
shame on who for not coming back? Sorry,
Talia Shire. Like,
oh yeah,
I like it. She should have been in Balboa for sure. Like, she should, like, she was Rocky's foil for so long. And I think that, like, my problem is that, like, I love the putting Apollo's son at the forefront of those 2 narratives, but I really wanted Rocky to be, I don't know, like, there with him through the whole thing. Like, even if it is his answer is, I don't have anything more to teach you, that moral support there, I didn't want to, like, maybe this is just comes down to like hero worship stuff. But like, I did not want to see him frail. I did not. And like, I don't tune into a Rocky movie to see Rocky frail. I don't mind him being frail emotionally.
But I think it adds to it because he wasn't frail in the second one. He was frail in the first one when he had the cancer. And then in the second one, he was a lot stronger because they even had a fight scene between him and Dolph Lundgren. So, like, I think he's stronger.
Oh, he had cancer in the first one?
Yeah, it was the first one.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm confusing the 2. I don't remember the plot to 2. I'm so sorry. I need to rescind my vote. I don't remember. I thought the first one he was strong the whole film. It's been a long time since I watched the second one, so I got to rescind my vote.
Are we still talking Creed 2 now? I'm confused.
Creed 2. Yeah, Creed 2.
I rescind my Creed 2 vote. I don't remember the plot well enough.
I agree with me. Creed 2. No. To me, if anything, going from Creed 1 to Creed 2. And I want to ask you this, Chris, because I want to get your opinion on this when we get to it. But Creed 1, he's frail, he's sick, he has cancer, and that not only does that give Adonis Creed the chance to do something for a fatherly figure he never got to do, and take care of him and see him through and make him push. Now, and I'm not bullshitting this. This isn't lawyer talk. So I'm actually mean this. But then you actually get to see Rocky fight a fight. Yeah, that's his fight. The cancer is his fight. He fights through it. He gets stronger. And then by the second one, he is stronger again. He's living his life. And by the end of that, when he walks off and he realizes I've helped him, and he sits down and he goes, that's the end for me. I was so happy in Creed 3 to see that he wasn't in it. Not because I don't care about Rocky, but because it would have admonished everything he did in the second one to see him off and say, you got this now. And Creed 3, as we know, picks up with Adonis Creed's retirement. So to see him get into retirement, get into promotion, we should have never had Rocky in it. I'm so happy that he wasn't in it. I do hope there's room for him to come back though. I'm cool with that. All right, I talk too much. I'm sorry. I'm really high. Chris, what do you think of Creed 3, and where is it on Miyagi Life?
Completely agree with you. I put it over. I love the fact, like you said, with the progression of Rocky himself. Like, we have to show time. We have to show now he went from, student and being the main attraction to now being the teacher, and even to someone who was his adversary, to now again introducing, like Mick said, a little bit more humanity. He's battling something on his own while helping his protege get to where he needs to be. And then the master finally gets to say, you graduated, kid. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that played a huge role in the progression of me understanding, liking, and appreciating where Creed 3 ended up landing and how it 2 segued into it.
What about you, Dan? What do you think?
I have not seen Creed 3 because Rocky's not in it.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Disservice.
You gotta
that's
watch
the thing about it. It's like 4 or 5. Like I said, there's a switch where you finally learn it's not just Rocky, and it's more of, the Apollo story, the adversarial story. This is the Batman Joker story, but in boxing. This is Lex Luthor Superman, but in boxing. You know what I mean? Type deal. And it's not necessarily that they're a bad guy. It's just the fact that, hey, this is almost Vegeta Goku, actually, because they're both good guys. They just want to both be the best, and every step of the way, that's kind of where their competition comes.
And seriously, like when I found out Stallone wasn't in it, my bad if it's an excellent film. Jason said it like he would put it as the best movie of the year. I just haven't seen it. I didn't like.
I hope you really good. I really did.
I should apparently. Like I did. It just got. It was really hard for me when I found out that. Whoa! That is different. It's
by the way, if you are fans of Freddy, hurt people.
It still has Freddy though. Like that's the difference. Is like that without any Rocky in the film. Like because this is what I didn't mention when I said that I think that 3 and 4 are below the Mendoza line. That doesn't mean I don't watch them yearly. Like. And I love in Rocky 3. I love in Rocky 3 when he's standing in the middle of the ring at the end and he's fighting Clubber Lang. He's like, "You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad." And he's just getting hit and he just doesn't care and abandons everything about what he was taught and still goes toe to toe with Clubber Lang for no reason. Like, oh, I taught you how to box, and he boxes the first round, and then the second round he comes out and they just go into the middle of the ring and swinging at each other. Like, I'll watch that all day. Just because something is a arguably bad film does not mean I'm not going to tune in and watch the hell of it. Like,
go home, Jason. Get on.
But the crazy part is just that I love Rocky. And so when it was really hard to sell me as a pure only Rocky fan, like, because this is the thing, Mick, is like I watched because I was a boxer in high school. I watched Rocky because I liked the boxing. And I know everything that Mick was saying about it. It's a story about the human condition, about like what it's like to be down and out, all the different stuff. I know. I just don't care.
What it's like to be a creeper and super persistent until you get the girl.
Stay in a corner in your apartment.
To be fair, like, dude, have you ever? So you watch those late 70s films, and even Blade Runner. This scene in Blade Runner where he kisses. Oh, who's the actress's name, Mick? I don't know the.
Sean Young.
Yeah, he kisses Sean Young, and that's supposed to be romantic somehow. Like,
no, that's the best part, and that's what I love about the misconceptions in these movies. It's Rocky is the same, and a lot of people seem to think these aren't heroes; they're anti-heroes. We cheer for them because they're the ones that are on the right for this, but they could easily be on the bad at any moment doing the wrong thing. So when let's take Deckard kissing Sean Young's character. I can't remember her name at the moment, but kissing her character.
Well, she's a replicant. Does it matter if she has a name?
Yes, shut up. So him kissing her and forcing that kiss on her is never meant to be romantic. It's meant to show his feelings of domination over a replicant. They're so beneath him. He can do whatever he wants at any time. And it's also to show that men often, that's how they always did things with women. So it's a really good, listen, I got a video planned that I'm putting together that covers like deliverance and things like this. Yeah. That's going to blow your socks off. I'm telling You're gonna have some fun with it.
Wait. Is there gonna be ways that you like argue points or justify Deliverance?
I justify Deliverance as being an absolutely essential movie to watch.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
It is a quintessential movie that is covers the topic of rape.
Okay.
It is absolutely, and the more I've been studying this and looking into it and reading things on it, it's John Borman and his ideas for that are insane. It blows me away because the whole point of that movie in every aspect, right down to where they are, where they're from, what the town people are doing, how it all works, is not about class. It's not about rural versus city. It is 100% about power domination and rape. And it's supposed to make us feel exactly how women feel all the time. And it does. Think about it. Who's seen that movie here?
Of course.
And how do you feel about that movie?
I never want to watch it again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and women live with that every single day.
Yeah.
So that's a great, and people don't seem to get it. If you say that somebody, hey, you've seen Deliverance? Yeah. Is it horrifying? Yeah. You gonna watch it? No.
Where do you put Deliverance on the?
I'm not giving that up. Oh, on the Miyagi line, above. First of all, filmmaking wise, it's a wonderful wonderful made film with a lot of intensity and so much God, the camera angles in that. When he shoots him with the arrow and it body drops and he's standing there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a powerful shot. And especially, or when you're watching the horror of John Voight being stuck to the tree, cinematically with the sound is just astonishing.
I agree.
When I get high, I feel like I'm in a planetarium, right? So
I agree 100% with you.
Enjoy it.
No, I agree 100%. It's above the Miyagi line. It's above the Miyagi line. I just don't like the movie. I never had. So to contrast, here I am loving Rocky 3 and 4, and I put it below. I do not like Deliverance, and the rape stuff aside, I just don't. I don't know.
How old were you when you watched it?
17, first time I think.
Yeah, and have you watched it ever since?
No, I won't. I don't. But I don't. I felt the same way. My friend made me watch Irreversible.
Oh my God!
Never. I won't watch it again. Another one, Antichrist. Have you ever seen that? It's a Lars von Trier film. I'll never watch. I'll never watch it again. They're just films that to me it's weird. I can see them as art, but I don't understand watching them.
No, this Antichrist is stupid. I don't even put that on because even filmmaking wise, fine, you're an idiot, Lars. But because it's a terrible story. When I'm talking about with Deliverance, when I'm talking about Irreversible, which I implore you, Chris, watch it as a filmmaker.
Oh my God.
Oh, as a filmmaker, cinematography wise, you're going to be blown away. But there is a rape scene in it with Monica Bellucci, and it's one of the most uncomfortable, right up there with Deliverance, uncomfortable, and it's genius filmmaking because of why and how they did it, and what it tells in the story and where it goes. Because where you start, because the whole movie is in reverse. So you watch this movie in reverse, and each time is the scene that's supposed to be before, and you get to the end, and you're oh my God, because you're seeing the rape scene in the beginning, towards the beginning, and then by the time you get to the end, you understand almost everything that led up, and you're oh my God. They are uncomfortable movies because those show the horror of that act, of what it is, and it makes us feel it and understand it, and that is why. And I want to bring this up to Jason. When he says "I Spit on Your Grave" was a movie that made me very uncomfortable. Yes, it did. 100% agree, right? It is an uncomfortable movie, but the difference between Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave, movies like that, or was it Mother's Day or something? All these scenes.
Same thing, yeah. Last House on the Left is the one that I'll never watch again. I'll never watch Last House. I can't believe they remade it. Why?
Those are not designed to make you feel it. They're designed to show you that there are people out there who are horrific enough to be attracted to sensual acts in this nature that is disgusting, and I'm, of course, disgusting. My point being, they are not trying to make you feel uncomfortable for the sake of understanding that this is horrific. They're trying to make you feel uncomfortable in the same way a horror movie, any horror movie does, just feel uneasy. They're using that as a crutch almost.
The scene in Last House on the Left that I'll never forget. They've just finished raping this poor girl, and they've put her in the lake. And Kruger, they're standing by the car, and Kruger looks down at his nails, and it has like, and he flicks some grass off his nails, like it's just like a Tuesday night. And like, I'll never forget seeing that. And now it's effective. Like, here's the thing: is like it's like effective. I don't know. It's so hard because like
you can say it is effective. It is an effect. Movies are supposed to be effective. That's the thing.
And I'm not. I would never want to Here's the other thing: is like a movie like Irreversible. I never want to censor it. Like it should be released.
Yeah.
I'm never going to sign up to see
the Irreversibles, and the Deliverance, because they are showing you. And I think they get mixed in with the Last House on the Left and things like that because people don't understand. They veer off. One is done for a horror sake, and one is done to show this is horrific.
Yeah,
and you should understand that.
It's different.
Yeah, it's more of a teaching experience, but it's not. And the thing is, like I say this, the entire movie of Deliverance is about rape. The entirety of it, every aspect, from the dueling banjos to what the characters are, what they're saying, the exchanges between everybody, all the way up to them running, because they killed these people to protect themselves, and them running from this town because they think that the jury is never going to set them free. Why do women run after rape and not tell anyone? Because our society has shamed them for so long. That's a perfect representation. They're ashamed. They did something. And they killed an intruder on them. And that should just be self-defense. But they're so afraid that public opinion is going to be against them. They're trying to run. They're trying to get out of there. And by the time they get out and they're hurt and they're taken in by the town, and everyone is a completely opposite from what they expected, and they just knew what happened, and they felt what went down, or they found out what went down, and they realized, let's just let the dam break and just forget it all. And that's how many times have women been told that? There's no evidence. Let's just let it go. It's the perfect representation. I'm telling you. I said it all in here, so now my video is shot.
You know what might be a really good franchise to look at for the Miyagi line, just because of how people represent it, and it's all about today. The OG Star Trek movies.
I'm definitely interested for Star Trek Day.
Yeah, right? Like, so you have a franchise that has 6 films, so it's an even number, where usually people dog on the odd, right? People dog on the odd. So where would you guys put the original 6 on the Miyagi line?
And we're leaving Next Gen out? You want to leave Next Gen out?
We can see if Next Gen after that. I have my own issues with the Next Gen series as far as films. So
if you look right here, you can see a butt right now because I'm watching. Was Demons or what was it called?
So let's start with 1. Mick, where would you put Star Trek: The Motion Picture on the Miyagi line?
This is the line. Below the line.
Even with how well it's made.
I love the filming. I love Robert Wise. Or Days of Earth stuff. He's amazing. And not for Sound of Music, but whatever. Sound of Music sucks, but it's okay. FYI, I did say I hated somebody today because they said they liked the Sound of Music. Out of the blue. I hate that movie so much. Like it was a character in a TV show. I was like, I hate that guy. He likes the movie. Anyway, so yeah, it's beautiful. It's wonderful filmmaking. It's not a bad story. I like the story. But as far as Star Trek goes, and the fact that unlike most of the other ones that followed it, they didn't utilize the crew as well as they could have, and that was always Star Trek to me. It was great to see everybody come back together, but they didn't utilize them. Also, I didn't like the way they changed Starfleet into what they were. It was less exploratory. It was more cruise liner. And I didn't like that. So when 2 came around and it was more along that line, that's when it blew up for me. But that's me. That's what I thought.
What do you think, Chris?
It's kind of sucks because my dad's gonna be mad at me because he was a huge Star Trek fan, and the only one I remember is part of the first one, and I remember some of the Wrath of Khan, and that's it. Like, so I gotta go back and
I
watch.
brought up a bad topic.
It's all good.
Oh, that's a great topic.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
No, that's fine. Because what we'll do is we'll have Chris pick the next one.
You're good.
Oh,
You're
okay.
good.
You want to pick the next franchise, Chris? Let's run through Star Trek real quick.
Sure.
So, Dan, where's one for you?
Above. I think it's one of the most underrated films in history. I don't get the hate. They were clearly channeling 2001: Space Odyssey. If you watch it today, it looks better than pretty much every other one of the films that were made. It looks great. The visuals, I like the storyline. I like that storyline better than almost everything they did in TNG movies. Like, the only thing that I don't like, I would rate it way higher if it weren't for the fact that I think they did Kirk dirty in that film. I think they did Kirk real dirty.
Well, I'm sorry. What's TNG?
Next Generation.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan even. I just know the
good.
terminology. So I put it above. Like, if this is the line, I mean, like, you're talking like here, not like here, like here.
I do want to talk more about that though, like how they did Kirk dirty. I love to hear your opinion. I don't want to leave Chris out, so I want to kind of move along. 2, I think we both agree. It's
way above.
Way
I mean,
above.
Khan is an S tier. Khan is an S tier movie.
I would urge you, even for the filmmaking side, especially because you really like that side of the technical, like the shots and such. Watch those movies, man. I think you really like them. Back for the time, especially coming off Star Wars.
And the thing is, I've seen them all. My dad has forced me to sit there and watch them.
You just don't remember.
I really don't remember them. I really don't remember them.
That's fair. I mean, one is really forgettable. I mean, it is. If I'm going to be honest, the plot is not what puts it above the Miyagi line. The plot is not what puts it above the Miyagi line. It's everything else. The plot is kind of average, but everything else about the film puts it above it.
Funny enough that you mentioned that for the first movie. You said it's more 2001, which is what they were going for, of course, and because they were trying to compete with Star Wars, but they weren't Star Wars, so they wanted to do. So they went more with the look of 2001. So all the reasons that it's like that. I love 2001 and with its story and what it means and how everything ends and what the whole theme of the movie. And I had to grow to love that. I didn't love it when I was young. I grew into it. But I have to say, because Star Trek followed that for the first movie and not Star Wars, which what they basically did with Wrath of Khan, which is way better. That's why I don't like it as much, is because 2001 has a theme, and if you can figure it out, and it's supposed to be really hidden and really you have to figure it out.
It's so esoteric, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Star Trek didn't have that. They just had kind of a cool twist where it was like, oh, we sent Voyager. Oh, okay. Voyager. Oh, we get it. There was there's not a thinker to that one. So like you're trying to be 2001, but you're hollow. So it's.
I get that. If it weren't so well made, and honestly, it's some of the best. I think it's some of the best acting in the series. Like, I wouldn't put it there. But what? So 3.
3 is below.
Above.
I love 3. But
I love 3. I think it's above. What puts it above to me? It gets a lot of hate. So I immediately feel the need to defend it. But I love Christopher Lloyd in that movie, man. I love Christopher Lloyd in that movie so much. I think the storyline is great. Too bad Kirstie Alley couldn't come back and play the role again, because that was really weird seeing the new actress. But 3 I put above.
I put it below, but the reason I put it below, first of all, it's the only movie in history that course corrects a death of a major character, and I both think it's a ruin for the franchise, but I'm so glad they did it because I'm so glad Spock continued on.
So you don't like that? So
from a story,
okay,
from
I
a
get
story
it.
standpoint, I feel like you made a major sacrifice, and then in the very next one made it completely null and void. And that is so cheesy, and it really pisses me off from a storytelling perspective. From a Star Trek fan and lover of Spock, I am so happy he continued on, and he went into TNG, and he went into the JJ verse and everything. So I'm so glad it was course corrected, but as a storyteller, it pissed me off. 4 as above. I love 4. I think it's well directed. I think it's a fun tale. I think it's enjoyable. I think it goes back to what Star Trek was before the war thing, and it works. I don't care if Dan's shaking his head. Listen,
I can't. I hate that movie so much.
Dan, it's one of the better ones. You just have to suck it up.
You know what?
Or you know what?
Problem.
If you say 4 is bad,
oh, you better believe that's a bad one.
Sorry,
it's below. It's below. Who cares about whales?
I do. I am a whale. Shut up. I'm voting for you son of a bitch. Vote for Dan for Face of Horror.
I don't want to see any of the cast in 1986, I think it was.
7, yeah.
I don't want to see any of the cast in that. I hate the love interest for Kirk. She is a terrible actress. A terrible actress.
The mom? You mean the mom from Seventh Heaven?
Yeah. Like I don't know anything else Seventh Heaven, but like I think that 4 has absolutely trash. I love how Futurama makes fun of it. I love how Futurama just rips on the plot. And it makes no sense. None at all. 0 sense.
He's fired up.
Yep.
This is a strong opinion I have, Chris. This is a strong opinion I have.
I enjoyed it.
Celebrate that movie. They hold it on high. I've heard people say it's better than Khan, which is insane because Khan is one of the greatest movies of all. Hey, I'm going to say something really controversial on the show right now. Khan is better than any Star Wars that has ever been made. How about that? Khan is a better film than any Star Wars film. Period.
I would hard argue about Empire.
Nope, better than Empire.
No.
You know why? Because it actually executes revenge. And it is great. It is.
Go comatose for me, baby.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
That's you right now.
How
dare you?
So I am rating this. Obviously, personal preference is coming in hard, but trying to remove personal preference, I still put it below the line because I think the plot is terrible. I think it's one of the worst acted, and people just overlook it. People just overlook the acting, and the acting is so bad. And the only highlight to me in that entire film is Scotty.
He's like, remember the source, guys. Remember the source. He likes
everybody's asking me to turn off your mic, dude.
Like is strong, Jason. I just don't hate it, which is different. But
that's true. But you've given good reason, and actually, it pisses me off that you've actually made me rethink. Maybe I should go back. I'm never going to.
I'm over here like, I need the worst piece.
The highlight to me in 4, Scotty picks up a mouse, and he was like, computer.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the highlight of the film. Every other part of the film, I like.
Bones in
two parts. Computer
Bones
and
in the 1980s was amazing.
Double Dumbass. Computer and Double Dumbass are the only parts I like. Every other part, I may as well just. I feel the same way, FYI, about what's the Next Generation one where it basically they land on a planet where everybody is young. Insurrection.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Insurrection.
I love Insurrection.
If 4 had been an episode,
if you like Nemesis, I'm gonna go crazy, Dan. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Think Nemesis gets too much hate for no reason.
You son of a!
Let's go!
How dare you on Star Trek Day? Even Jonathan Frakes said to me that Nemesis was sports.
I didn't know. So here's the thing about 4: if it were an episode, I would have probably enjoyed it. Do not make me sit through 90 minutes.
Oh, it's a good movie, Dan.
Like,
It was a
no,
good movie.
no.
It wasn't Wrath of Khan. You're right, but Wrath of Khan was good. But like, I'm looking at it from the.
They're not even in outer space. It's Star Trek, and they're not in outer space.
Listen for Edge of the City Tomorrow. Edge of the City Tomorrow.
No.
It took place in 1944.
Same problem I have. So it's the same problem I have with like not like holodeck episodes. People love holodeck episodes. Nope. No.
This is this.
Show me some fucking stars, man.
Show me some stars. Star Trek. Trek the damn stars.
If anything, you take those 6 movies. Technically, you take Generations 2, but you take those 6 movies and you go through them, and they only are episodes of the season. Dan, you got the first one and the fighting Voyager, but it's not really you know what I mean. And then the second one, which is a 2-parter, to be continued. We'll bring Spock back next week. And then you get to the 4th one, where you cool off a little bit. You're mid-season. Maybe you got Paul in. It's a good one, well-directed. Good job, Leonard Nimoy. I love you. Then you get to the 5th one, which is, I swear to God.
5th one.
Swear to God. I swear to God, Dan. I swear to God.
Above the Mendoza. Above the Miyagi line. Above.
Dan,
this one gets
you
hate for
fucking
no
are
reason.
kidding me. You are. This is equal parts why I love you and why I hate you. So I love you for the very reasons I'm hating you right now.
So many good reasons why it's above the Mendoza line. I can talk about the benefits of what 5 is to Star Trek, what Rocky 4 is to Rocky.
Dude, no. Rocky 5. No. Rocky is out. Rocky's out. We're not going back. We're not going back in time. All right. Fucking 5, man. Final Frontier. Dude, it's God, but not really God. So, all right.
They go warp 9.9.
Part of that movie is the triumvirate. We get to see the friendship, but it took the rest of the crew out, and that pissed me off because
no, it didn't piss me off at all. They only paid attention to the ones I wanted to pay attention to.
Chris is like, why did I?
No, not at all. I'm enjoying this. I love it. So I love opposite ends. I love opposite sides of the table, man.
Everybody celebrates
Where's
4.
the original?
Everybody's like, man, we love 4. Well, where did they go?
All right. Well, now, here, Dan, I'm going to lose my mind. Do not lie to me on this. Do not bullshit me. 6. It's my favorite. I want to hear it.
Above.
Oh, thank God. Oh, my God, dude.
The only one I think is below the Mendoza. For FYI, Star Trek movies, the only one I think is below the Miyagi line is 4. That is the only one.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Not counting Next Generation movies.
Fair.
Which First Contact is almost as good as Khan, by the way. First Contact is
first of all, First Contact on its own is so far above the Miyagi line that I don't like.
And guess what? You know where they go in that one in First Contact? You know where they go?
Where?
Earth. But they do it in a way that they also go to space.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
I'll give you that.
Like, let's not spend the entire freaking movie on Earth.
Because nobody wants
how
to
it's done.
On a bird of prey, Daniel. So nobody wants to watch a bunch of people walking around a bird of prey trying to figure out Klingon all of a sudden. They want to be down there.
I watch it all day.
The
indoor episodes of Battlestar Galactica, I love those.
You'll appreciate this. I love that. I love the fact that you just did that. Because I don't know what you said, but I love it. So on Star Trek, so a little trivia for you on Star Trek 4 when they're on the bus and the guy listening to really loud music is on the boombox.
Double dead mass, yeah.
That and then he goes over, gives him the Vulcan neck pinch, and he passes out, and everybody claps. That same actor was brought back in Picard season 2 when they travel back in time to Los Angeles, and while the 7 of 9 and what's her name? Whatever, I can't think of her name at the moment.
The captain.
No, not the captain. His number 1. She was played by what's her name? I can't think of anybody at the moment. So 7 of 9, I just know because of Voyager book. So anyway, they're on a bus and the guy's listening to music real loud, and she says, "Turn that down." He goes, "Okay, no problem. Sorry." So I just thought it was cool, but it was the same actor. They brought it back. Anyway.
That's so good.
All right, you pick one.
Keep it in the universe.
Mr. Jake did say do Scream, so at some point I think we got to get to that.
She wants to hear that for sure.
Fuck it, let's do the Scream right now. Because I was torn between Star Wars or Fast and Furious.
I can't do Fast and Furious. I can do Star Wars. I can do Scream.
All
I've
above.
seen the very first one.
When you're about family, Daniel, when you're about family.
Okay, Tim.
all
Okay,
above.
Tim. Slow down.
No. That
You can have any beer in my fridge as long as it's a Corona.
There's maybe one or two I'd put above. I'd have to think about it. I don't think I could do Fast and Furious right now. I'd really have to think about that for the
Another episode. Let's take care of Scream then. Let's make sure our fans get what they want.
See what we can do now.
We can do this. We can do this. Number 1, Scream.
Well, Dan, every one of them is going to be up below, by the way. Dan hates it.
That's not true. That is not true. That's not true.
All right, he likes the new ones.
You got to go first. I'm waiting for you first. Start with 1. Go, buddy.
For part 1, I'm above.
Change the game, Daniel. Change the game.
It's above the Miyagi line.
All right, I love it.
So we had this conversation about Jurassic Park, about Jaws, about like it is. I mean, Scream is not a bad movie. It's well made, well told, all this stuff. I don't like how people put it in the pantheon because I don't think it belongs there. Like
I do.
It's definitely above watchable, but it's not.
Guys, we're talking horror, so I thought I'd bring this up. As we are, and I'm not, this is Dan, I promise you, this is all about me advocating. I love it. Dan is currently 3rd in the Face of Horror contest. Please go use your free daily vote on Dan every day for the next 6 days.
At the minimum, just because the costume's real dope. That is a dope costume.
I do like that.
If you would like to donate, and I know a lot of people say this is a scam, but it's not. It all goes to donations to the charity. If you want to scare vote, I have done it myself. You can't do it for yourself if you're in the contest, but you can do it for others. And I please beg you to do it for Dan because I want to see this guy win. But
if you don't do it for me, do it for Mick because that's who I did it for.
No, don't do it for me. I'm in like last place. Please don't do it for me. They thought I meant horrible face contest. And
I still maintain that was my joke. That was my
no,
joke.
it was not your joke. I've been saying that for days.
Okay.
You got a beautiful face. You shush your face.
Scream 2. Go ahead.
I feel like I have a video for that. Scream 2 is below.
Wait. I was like, wait, did we get everybody for Scream 1?
Yeah, I said above, and I think I surprised Mick. But the problem is that my problem isn't that Scream isn't a great movie. It's that Scream isn't like top tier, like people talk about it. People put it in the same conversation as like Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'm sorry, it's just not there.
Nope, and that's what I was gonna say. It's plagued by this bit of this plateau in its identity, but then it's gone where it has such a longevity that we kind of get a little bit of a sign graph or a heartbeat for it, where it's like good, and then it kind of comes back, and then it comes back to the good a little bit, and then it kind of stood down there for a little bit and started coming back with some of its revival. So for 2, I'm putting 2 just shy, just below the line.
All right, I'm going back a few seconds to Scream 1, and I'm going to say this. It absolutely belongs in the pantheon with Nightmare on Elm Street, but for different reasons. Nightmare on Elm Street is almost... I will say this, and people disagree with me often, but when it comes to the horror genre, I think there are 2 perfect screenplays in the horror genre. And that is Alien, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street. These are 2 ones... No, that's the only 2 in my opinion. I love, like, Silence of the Lambs is great. All these different ones are great, but they're not perfect scripts. They're not perfect screenplays with perfect stories.
Scream is not a perfect script.
What is it?
Scream. Just not
Scream. I said Nightmare on Elm Street and Alien.
Nightmare nailed it. Alien.
No, but what I'm saying is my 2 perfect scripts in horror genre are Alien and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, I thought you said Scream. I thought
no. What I'm saying is Scream belongs in the pantheon for different reasons. It doesn't belong there for like A Nightmare on Elm Street gets it for perfect screenplay and like just a lot of other elements and introducing probably one of the most iconic characters of all time. But
I mean, worldwide,
Scream gets it
he's part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for its influence, Scream gets it. There was a dead genre that had no life being pumped into it, and Scream did it.
So it doesn't bother you at all that they just looked at the plot of Freddy's Dead and then rehashed it?
That's kind of a stretch.
I don't think
explain.
that's a stretch at all.
Elaborate. Hold on, we gotta
Freddy's
talk about
dead.
that. Elaborate.
You mean that they like invented the meta horror? Bull. So in 1993, Freddy's Dead comes out. That reinvented horror. That reinvented it.
Wait. Freddy's Dead or Freddy's or
New Nightmare.
New Nightmare. Sorry, New Nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Freddy's Dead, dude. Breckenmeyer
No,
playing a video game.
New Nightmare crawled across glass on a dead at the time franchise so that way Scream could walk.
Oh, you know what? I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm with you on that.
Because
Like-
it's the meta, it brings it into the real world. I see what Wes Craven was going with. Here's why Scream is what perfected it. Is because Wes Craven's New Nightmare was so well written and it went right to it. That's why I think he had to have some influence on the Scream script when it came finally into it. Is because this meta idea was so huge for him, and it's actually you can date that back to a lot of his earlier movies like Serpent and Rainbow and such. But I'm not getting into that now. So if you
Good movie, by the way.
I think the only person think I knew this much about movies. So for this, when you push forward, so New Nightmare needed to exist for Scream to win, but Scream perfected it. If there was no New Nightmare, Scream wasn't there. I'm sorry, it wasn't. It wouldn't have existed without New Nightmare. Those elements all combined had to come together to make Scream, but it perfected it. It walked, and it belongs in the pantheon. That's why.
Let me ask you a question to rebuttal the last piece of that statement there. Do you think had Scream come out first, then we would not have got a New Nightmare? Or do you think that would have led the way for them to do a New Nightmare?
Scream would have never existed without New Nightmare existing. Because of the element of the meta and what Wes Craven was trying to do in that movie for horror, which is, in my opinion, is a revolutionary. And I can talk about that movie as a revolutionary movie in the horror genre and what it did. And I will never put down New Nightmare. I love that movie. I don't understand why people sometimes hate it.
Yeah, it was one of my
It
favorites.
was way ahead of its time. It was way ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Dan, it's so far ahead of its time. Ari Aster hasn't caught up yet. That's the problem. So my thing is, and we all know how I feel about him, but my thing is, Scream would have never been written if not for New Nightmare having existed.
Wait. But so I'm trying to think of timelines because Scream came out what, 95, 96?
96.
And New Nightmare came out in 94?
93, 94, something like that. There was really good music at the time. That's all I know.
93. New Nightmare was 93. Scream was 96. Production for Scream began a year and a half after they wrapped production or post-production on New Nightmare.
I got you, Miranda.
So, okay.
I'm with you.
I'm sorry, I don't put it in the pantheon. Scream 2 is not above either. Scream 2 is
argument for why it belongs there.
Scream 2 kills the best character in the franchise.
Before we move on to 3 real quick. So you said that since New Nightmare came out, Scream was able to come out. But at the same time, how do you claim exactly how do they play into the meta thing? I mean, one is taking a fictional character and bringing it into the real world, and the other one is taking the real world and bringing out the evil of certain people that are there, which, I mean, that's kind of the derivative story of Freddy because he saw the figure in the alleyway and thought, you know, there was evil or whatever. But so how exactly does Scream produce the meta? Because to me, it doesn't do that until the last 2, 5 and 6.
If you allow me, Dan, mind if I take this one for a sec?
You take it. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink my whiskey.
I gotta get my eighth and 4 breath in because I'm about to do a lot of Wes Craven in a really short period of time.
Right here.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Wes Craven was actually a psychology teacher. He was very deeply rooted in psychology and realism and dealing with a lot of things. Dreams also included in that, and how they worked in realism. That's why when you watch Last House on the Left, it's deeply rooted in realism. But by the time you get to the end of it, after all the massacre, you realize that it's turning. He always turns the realism. As you keep going, Hills Have Eyes is the same way. The violence is what's pushing this realism. Then you keep going. You get to finally Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street is such a thing where they are playing with you that everything, you don't know whether it's real or whether it's in the dream. And then when you finally get to it, the only way to beat it is to bring it to realism, bring it to reality to defeat it. And that still doesn't do it. And now I'm not covering the rest of those movies because he wasn't deeply rooted in much of them. Then we get to New Nightmare. Okay, now you have Surfer and Rainbow, which is bringing the realism of religion and things and how it affects life, and what goes on in the corruption that goes on within that area that takes place. And I can go on and on about most of his movies and how realism plays into it. You get to New Nightmare. New Nightmare is where he takes a character he built, basing it on all of these things I'm talking, these themes, and then he finally turns around and he pulls the seventh one down and do it himself. And he decides what? To turn it into realism. Show us real life. Why bring us back to these characters that are gone? He wants to bring it back to the beginning. He wants to bring Heather Langenkamp back and Robert Englund. And while he's doing that and celebrating this tenure that this franchise had, he pulls in and you get the realism of that life. She's an actress. But now this thing that has taken over her life, this entity from the unreal world, part of her world, is invading and starting to come into her life, into her realism. Now, for me, it's a revolutionary horror script. Is it perfect? No. Has a lot of issues, and I think where the perfection comes in is when he comes into Scream and he decides to flip-flop it and not make it that reality, that is an unrealistic thing is trying to get into reality, but reality is trying to bend itself into an unrealistic theme. And
reality becomes the fantasy for the first time.
So, did I answer your question? I'm kind of lightheaded at the moment.
So reality.
So if I answered your question, you're welcome. If I didn't, I'm sorry.
One more time. Say that again for me, Dan. You said reality becomes what? No, not you. Just the last thing Dan said.
So for the first time, what's up, Paul? For the first time, reality is based on fantasy. The fantasy isn't a reflection of reality.
Got you. Where typically movies is art that's imitating life. Now this is okay. And so art imitating life as the art. Gotcha.
And here's where Dan's probably going to punch me in the face next time he sees me. Scream 3. Above the line for me.
Oh my God, no! Oh, it's so far below the line.
Is 3 the one that they go back to the movie set and everything? And
this is the movie set one.
Yeah,
I
love the cutbacks to the mom and all that shit.
Okay, stick with me on this, Chris.
I'm with you.
Touching back on what we just said about reality becoming fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with 3 and why it's so far below the Mendoza line that I'm taking a dump on it. It is what Wes Craven does interjected with what's called post-structuralism. It's self-effacing in terms of reality becoming fantasy, becoming reality, becoming fantasy. Have you ever seen Fight Club where he explains like
that movie is below the line for me.
Fight Club's above. But
you're bugging.
No, it is above, but I don't
it's like a reflection of a reflection of a reflection of a reflection. And it's built on some work by this guy by the name of Baudrillard, who in the 1980s pointed out this thing that everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. My problem with Scream 3 is it's so on the nail
for that
in terms of what it does that I hate it. It's the same reason I dislike it when movies have the title in the movie. I don't like that. Like, I hate it when something is like, boom, on the head. Like, I don't hit the nail. Don't hit the nail. I want that subtlety. I want that, like, kind of level of interpretation.
I'm like, wait, what? No. No one's ever said, you know what? God damn it, they just missed the mark, and I'm fucking happy they did. I've never heard that.
Not missed the mark. No.
I'm so mad.
Not about missing the mark.
I want to throw my equipment because you just said I want the subtlety, but I talked to you in depth about Jaws, and you are driving me. If there's not more of a subtle horror movie than Jaws,
the problem with Jaws is that the first third of the movie has nothing to do with the plot.
You're insane. It has everything to do with the plot. It builds so.
I knew because I didn't like. I knew I'd get.
See, and I'm kind of a shake on this one because I feel like Jaws never did it for me. I feel like it was always dry until scene 2 or act 2 or 3, the end of act 2 or beginning of 3.
Yes, our show, Chris, our show.
Fuck it. Let's go.
Dude,
Family.
you guys are ridiculous. In the world of filmmaking, that is almost a damn near perfect.
I understand
every
why.
aspect.
Don't get me wrong. I understand the revolutionariness behind it. I understand the vision
No,
behind
I'm not
it.
even saying that. I'm saying from like every shot tells a story and drives character and builds it to get to that end. That end, everything there is I can tell you in every fucking shot. I've studied this movie in and out. In every shot, there's something leading to the inevitable end of how this happens, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
How does the mayor lead to
If the mayor is the face of the corruption, what does he look like? He looks like every beautiful politician we've ever seen. And if he's the face of the corruption, without the mayor, those beaches stay closed. He needs to be there.
You still gotta hunt the shark.
Yes, you do, and they do. That's the third act. It's the
What does it matter whether the beaches are closed or open?
Daniel, you needed to keep the beaches open so that Kittner boy could get killed, and
Just
it could
kill the
ruin.
Kittner boy. Kill the Kittner boy. Close the beaches.
You had to do it in front of everybody with the beaches open.
Yeah, but that's the problem with the whole premise behind it. If you have to force it because of movie magic, because that wouldn't be the case. The fucking beach would be closed. Everybody would be
forcing it.
Everybody would have been evacuated off the beach already, not able to stand there watching the shit and have them hash out the plan, trying to figure out what they're gonna do.
We're making Mick so mad right now. We're making
every
aspect so mad.
of this movie is a natural progression from beginning to end. You guys are rousing me. I know what you're doing, and it's working. But
I'm being honest.
Dude, no, every choice made in that movie is a progression naturally, and it goes to the character and who they are and what it's building to get to the finality of how it all has to play out.
I feel like this is how it goes.
To die in it.
I feel like this is how it goes. Shark, everybody off the beach. Somebody jumps in the water, starts paddling, trying to save if the person's still alive. And then everybody else is getting off the beach. There's another lifeguard, and then another lifeguard jumps in behind the other lifeguard. Everybody off the beach! Clear the area! And then the fucking cars come out of nowhere on the beach, and
I
the
kind of
bullies
wish
and the stretchers.
We're sturdy.
They were off real slow, and then Zac
to...
Efron comes real slow.
Dude, I know my buddy Gerard is out there. Gerard, you want to jump on? You say the word and I'll send you the link. I need somebody to help me with this argument, and I swear to God, if you come on and you start saying what they're saying, I'm going to lose.
Jaws is like a 3 movie.
Okay, we got to get to an important Scream, because this is one that Scream 4
I swear to God, Dan. I swear to God, Dan.
Okay, which one's 4 again?
The fucking
4 is the
little Julia Roberts.
Social media.
Yeah. Little Julia Roberts and little Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Those were the killers. I ruined it for you. Don't watch it.
It's below. I threatened Mrs. Shake to never get to pick a movie again after we watched it.
I gotta do a quick Google search to remind myself. I need some imagery.
Yeah, because it was that forgettable. It was bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad movie.
And that was one where absolutely I wish I could have talked to Wes Craven and said, like, what? Where was the meta? Where was the realism?
He just wanted the social media aspect in it. He wanted that social media. He was adding another layer about how social media is a replication. And so now we have a replication of a replication of a replication. And like and when you're getting to that many tiers, it's like, okay, dude, I get it. Like, not only is it too obvious, it was poorly acted. Everybody loved what's the Miss Shake? What's the character everybody loves from that one?
Dewey?
No, I mean,
I kind of like Dewey.
I kind of remember the actress's name. I can't.
Emma Roberts?
Nope.
Emma Roberts? No. Hayden Panettiere?
Hayden
Panettiere. She's yeah.
Because she knew all the movies. So
what's her character's name? I can't remember. Tim loves her in that movie.
Oh,
like, he told me I don't get it because I'm geriatric millennial or late Gen X, whatever you want to call it. Kirby, yeah. He said, I don't get it. Sure. And I was like, I don't have to get it. It's just bad. Like, I don't like her character. I don't like the movie. I think it's below the Miyagi line.
I'm with you.
I'm with you on that for
Okay.
sure. Because just for the simple fact that I had to go back to even bring up any type of imagery from it. I was looking at the screenshots from some of these fucking clips here. I don't remember this movie at all, so I'm gonna need to rewatch this one. And that's a problem.
It was a dumb one. And actually, I think, and the funny thing for me is they took 4 and realized they fucked up in a lot of ways, and then they made 5, and it worked. And I'm sorry that Wes Craven wasn't at the helm of it, because I love Wes Craven, but I think that's where they fixed the franchise to utilize social media and everything else in the right way.
So 5 is the one that came out like a year and a half ago?
Not the one in New York City, the one before that.
Right.
All the
yeah. So
the one that
is above, and I'm going to go so far as to say that 5 is the best in the franchise.
Wait, this is Shake. Are you saying 5 is below the line?
4. She hates 4 too. We rewatched. So we own the collection and we watched them all. I've always been too low on 3, even though like I hate it. I don't hate it as much anymore. I like 2 even less than I originally did because they killed Randy. I've been too hard on screen my whole life, I think. She's wrong. 5 is the best in the franchise. 5 is the best in the franchise.
I got to disagree with you, Mr. Shake, on that. That was not predictable to me. I didn't see that coming.
I liked it.
I saw the one from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As soon as I saw her stupid face on screen, not the real, like her character's face, because of the way she was like portraying it. But I've seen the actress in interviews. She's fine. I just don't want to say she has a stupid face, but you know what I mean. But anyway, like she was really good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay, put her in the comment up because like, and I guess
as soon as I saw her, I'm like, you're the killer.
I guess the killer. It's not about. Here's the thing: is like every movie that I go, I ruined. This is a true story. When I went to go see The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Do you know the dinner scene right in the beginning?
Yeah.
So we've already seen this stuff with the kid, and we get into the dinner scene, and Bruce Willis sitting at dinner with his wife. His wife isn't reacting, and I noticed that nobody in that scene is looking at Bruce Willis. Nobody is. And we already know about like seeing this kid sees dead people, and I was like, I literally said this out loud in the theater. And I'm regretted to this day, but I said out loud in the theater, oh, Bruce Willis is dead. Just because I couldn't filter myself. And everybody in the theater turned around and looked at me like, what a fucking asshole. Honestly,
I figured it out. Like,
it doesn't bother me when I figure something out because I've read so many books from my master's degree that like it's really hard to introduce me to a plot that I haven't seen. It's really difficult. And like, I don't know. I thought 5 was clever. I thought it was clever and well acted. I liked the actresses in it. The sisters. I love the sisters. Yeah. And the scene at the house at the end where the 3 original actors come and they get that like revenge part. Like, no, I like it. 5's above. 5's above. It's well acted. It's clever. It's unique. And I like it.
What gets me with 5 to be above is the simple fact that they brought it back to a point that honestly I don't even think the first one gave me, because they gave you this like visceral fucking like you felt the fucking stabs, man. You felt the anger in these fucking killers. Where honestly in the other Screams, I never really felt that way, and it almost felt playful for the first 2. You know, the fucking garage door, certain situations, and you know what I mean. So it's like, even to me, the scene where fucking at the beginning the dude's hanging and his guts are coming out. Like, although that's a quick shot, it was almost too quick for me, and for some reason, it never hit the way it should have hit. But in these movies with 5 and 6 now, I'm like, if they would have brought this energy from Scream 1 all the way through and had the flow of the certain character arcs that they've had to build up to this point, this would be one of the best in my book ever. That I would always tell people, your bug and Scream is one of the pinnacles.
I think Scream 5 is the top. I do.
Now, as far as it being in the slasher realm, I mean, to me, a slasher is always going to be a Freddy Krueger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Jason.
I don't consider it a slasher personally.
I do. I will say this though: Scream 5, and I agree with you. I wouldn't put. I put the first one at the top personally, but I think Scream 5 would be a second for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I said Scream 3 before, I never got to really explain myself. I don't like Scream 3 as a Scream movie, but I like it as a movie.
Right.
You know, I think on its own, if it was just its own movie, I think it would have been really good. But fair. Okay.
And honestly, this comparison would have been a completely different situation had they left it just at 4 with the way it ended and all the way that movie went. Thank God they tried to give it another chance, because I'm glad they revived it.
How do you feel, Chris, about comparing movies this way to like actually average instead of extremes? How does that, like, you find it more difficult, less difficult?
I mean, it definitely makes you search a little bit more, but at the same time, honestly, like I've had a conversation internally with myself as I'm like rewatching some of my reviews and stuff, and I'm like, man, like, where are you coming from for some of these fucking reviews? You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you're really comparing it to the very best and the very worst every single time, and it's like, how can you do that if a lot of movies are gonna be average? You can't compare it to 1% on either end.
That's my thing about it. Like, and that's what Mick and I talked about in terms of an art form. Like, if you're gonna measure art, you're gonna compare art. It really is about like how it compares to the mean. Like, I'm a data guy anyway, so like I have to push that kind of like narrative. I don't know. I didn't like. That's where Scream 6 kind of comes in for me, is like I put it below the Mendoza, even though I enjoyed watching it. Yeah, I put it below. Like, I don't think the plot's very clever, and it was too choppy for me.
Wait, which one?
The last
Scream
one.
6, even though I really enjoyed.
I'm living in a whole new realm right now. But yeah, wait, what was Scream 5 again? Scream 6 was the one in New York, right?
Scream 6 is New York. Scream 5 was Jenna Ortega, and
yeah. Scream 5 is above. Scream 6 is so far below it's burning in hell. Yeah, that's right.
Scream 6. I don't think it's below. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed 6. But it's not above the Miyagi line, because honestly, I don't see myself like running out to rewatch it. I enjoyed watching the film. I think it missed Sidney Prescott.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of heart. There wasn't heart in the film, and we haven't really talked about that yet. But like, there was no heart in that film. There's no heart.
Here's what's wrong with Scream 6, and it's 100% the only reason. No, not the only reason, but it's 100% the main reason is that nobody from the camp dies. See, in Scream 5, in their crew, some of them died. So there were stakes.
Yep.
In Scream 6, they all survived, and you never thought they were going to die. So, yeah, they introduced new characters who died or were something else. And they, added other elements where people get killed. But even Gail's still alive. Scream 5.
And how does Gail survive that? How does Gail survive that? How does she survive?
Scream 5, Dewey dies. We get the stakes, but let's say have friends die. It's real. Scream 6, Gail survives. Everyone survives.
How does she survive that scene? How does she survive that scene in 7?
She's part cockroach. I don't know.
Fuck that movie.
Survive a nuclear holocaust. She'll be fine.
I'm sure we're gonna get a Scream 7. Like,
see, honestly, I'm kind of at the point that I'm like, all right, we get it. Evil will keep going. There'll be somebody who gets pissed off or has some type of hardship,
how many more
wrongdoing, and they're gonna come on and put on the mask. I will tell you this: I saw a short film this week on Scream. I forget what channel I was on YouTube. That shit was fucking dope the way it occurred, and then the way it ended. Like, the chick ran outside as she was being chased, and she already got stuck once or twice. And then there's fucking like 30 ghost faces outside her house.
Yeah, no,
and then they run right to her, and that's where the fucking short film ends. And I'm like,
that's the scary shit. No.
Yo!
that is what Scream 6 should have been growing towards. The cult of Ghostface. Like they were trying
and then you actually get the social media threat as opposed to what you see in 4.
Yep.
Dude, son of a bitch. We just fixed it. This is a did I fix.
That's it. We just fixed the entire series and continuity and which part should go where if they would have just done 5 or 6 is this movie.
Dude, I love you, Gerard. I was talking to Gerard on the thing. I don't think you guys ever met Gerard. I can't wait for you. I'm going to bring him on the show sometime. But he's amazing. But he was texting me about his points.
Was that Mary there?
Mary, yeah, you want to say?
Love you, Mary.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I was all in. I love you. You brought me stuff. Go show them. They want to see
Hi,
you.
Mary.
Hi.
Hello.
So,
Pleasure to meet you.
Did you tell her I said she did a good job, Mick?
Aw.
Oh yeah, I did. Oh, I did tell her on the 5K quiz. See?
Oh yeah, you know what's so funny is I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm actually making a list of other ones to do.
Do it.
Nice.
Yeah, they know it.
See, this is why I don't go on the camera though, because I don't know.
Yeah, you're kind of poking in now.
Doesn't do that.
Nah.
He just shoves me out of this chair and sits down, so that's how that happens.
You guys want to hear? You want to hear something fucked up I found out today? I'm gonna tell them the Bijou Phillips thing.
Ooh, which part?
I'm sorry to take us away from the Miyagi line, but I have to.
Okay.
House Gerard says hey. So he misses
My
it.
friend. Gerard.
Shut up. He's my friend. So, all right. No, I got to tell him about Bijou Phillips. So Danny Masterson, right?
Yep.
Fuck that
Dirtbag.
guy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Where did that come from?
Total dirtbag.
Bijou Phillips and Danny Masterson are married. I went down a rabbit hole today. So as we know, Danny Masterson, you're just struggling. You just
How did he pull that?
You're poet. You go.
Jesus.
You're pretty. Go. Oh, I love pants. They're out of this world. Butts out of this world. So she has NASA pants, and every time she wears them, I say your butt's out of this world. So
It's my favorite.
I don't care, man. I'm cheesy. I bought, dude. The way I grew up, I am allowed to buy into the dad mode. I'm good with it. Hundreds and shit and all. I love it. I love it. Love you too. So I'm all in. Anyway, here we go. What was I saying?
Danny Masterson
Danny
is married
Masterson.
and busy.
So we know Danny Masterson comes from a sibling family where they were all stars. They all did different shit, right?
I had no idea, but
Yeah.
continue.
Well, Danny Masterson's one of his brothers was on Malcolm in the Middle. The oldest brother, his sister is on Walking Dead. The other brother does shit too. So they're all like actors, right?
Yeah.
In Hollywood, and they have jobs and whatnot. Bijou Phillips, he's married to Bijou Phillips. Bijou Phillips is her older sister is Mackenzie Phillips from One Day at a Time, was a star, and her other sister was in shit too. So, but they were all actors. They're all Wilson Phillips or not Wilson Phillips? Yeah, China Phillips or whatever. One of the fucking Phillips. So, so I don't know why I'm doing this again. I lose breath every time. So here we go. So they are the children of John Phillips and the other singer, the woman singer, Sandy Phillips, I think, and the Mamas and the Papas, right?
Okay.
Okay. Here's where it gets crazy. So Bijou Phillips, of course, is married to Danny Masterson, who, of course, that's just been convicted of rape. Can't believe we're going back into this. So, of course, John Phillips was notoriously known for what he did to his daughters, especially Mackenzie Phillips, which was sexual assault and rape and such. And now we move forward. You're really tired here. So now we move forward, right? And now she's married to this man who's doing this. But her brother-in-law, Billy Baldwin.
Wow.
Another famous family and has some controversy with
Controversy for
violence
sure.
towards women and things like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? Hollywood's crazy. I'm out. I'll just talk about it from Virginia. Been there, stayed square, went home. I'm just gonna say
Wow,
that.
that's crazy.
Anyway, I went down that rabbit hole today because I saw a Danny Masterson article and like because he got convicted and I was like, all right. Oh no, it was Ashton Kutcher. Fuck Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, by the way. You're banned from this. Here's why. And I am above all.
That's saying a lot. I like them. I like them.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I'm
Does
getting
he
to
do
it.
something for trafficking or some shit? Ashton Kutcher? Does he
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
foundation
you would think
that
he
the
would.
FBI
You
like
think
fucking relies on or some
You
shit?
think a guy who does that wouldn't write a letter to the judge asking for leniency towards his friend who was just convicted, and his wife did the same thing, and a very long, lengthy letter on how much integrity and how honest he is and how he puts people forward and all. Fucking listen, I believe in loyalty to your friends, and I've had friends who've had controversies, things like that, and some where it was so surprising, and I was like, I can't be your friend anymore. But you weren't on that level of it anyway. Like if you were at a higher level in the circle, I probably would have known this way ahead, and you would have been out of the circle. But my point being is, but if you are my friend and you're going through something, and I don't support your actions and I don't condone but if you're my friend, I don't want you to suffer.
Right.
Right? So I may not boast you. I may not be on the phone with you all the time, but I also don't want you to suffer. So I may still be there for you. And we've seen that even as recently as, personal. So like, try to be in your corner. So my point being is something like this, like if I'm friends with Danny Masterson, I find this out, peace out, Cub Scout, I'm gone. You are not a friend because you hid this from me. This is I don't care when I met you. This is something that's horrible and you've done it multiple times. That's not a friend, because you're a friend. You don't like if I know somebody, Dan, if you're a serial killer.
How'd you know?
Hypothetically. If you're a serial killer, we're friends for years and years, and I find out you've been killing people pretty much every day, like Dexter, for the past all those years, you sly bastard. And I find that out, I'm probably gonna be like, I don't know if I can sustain this friendship. I know it's been years, but this feels like a really big lie, an omission.
I'm over here like, no.
And of course, or maybe I wouldn't say that to him because he'd probably kill me. But,
well, and it like my. If you actually want,
blame it on your wife. Be like, yeah, my wife just, I don't know, she just didn't feel like you were the best, influence from me, and she was just like, I'm too busy, and I just have to separate a little bit,
But if
you gotta blame it on management.
I love it.
Going to the dead cup.
The dead, nice.
I buy all of Fright Rag's souvenir cups.
If you want your friend to get help, the last thing in the world you should look for is leniency.
Right.
Like,
where are you when you have a foundation that's trying to help sexually trafficked women? You're doing that, and I was like so enamored when I found that out about him. I was like, that's wonderful. I love that. And then this comes out, and I was wondering why he was quiet, but I was like, maybe he's just supporting his friend. I don't know. I don't have a friend who's done that, so I can't, or at least I don't know, but they're not going to be a friend if they did, but you know what I mean? Like that situation.
This is a dirtbag. I mean, the guy is he's an absolute
dirtbag.
Like,
but this is fucking like,
what else?
Now you're writing letters and shit. Like it's like, who are you? Like, what the fuck? And they were leaked. These letters were leaked.
You don't. It's weird because like if you really wanted your friend to get better, you need to make sure they get better. Like this is like, I will say, like, I think the American justice system has a lot of problems in terms of like punishment. Yes, I think that it's about making people like heal. No. But if you want your friend to get better, the last thing in the world you should do is be like, you know what, my rapist friend, yeah, like maybe we just look the other way. Like that's a terrible way to be. Wow, what a
and even then, but even if you're still friends with them, you don't write the letter. That's too much influence you're trying to put on for something where you're not even clearly thinking about the victim.
Oh yeah, like you don't have anything but like your friendship. Like I don't know, what so weird too because like
that's a crazy cosign.
Yeah,
that's a crazy.
That's a good way to put it, Greg.
No,
you're co-signing on a loan for somebody that doesn't have a job.
Nope. Nope.
Fuck that, dude. Like I have no respect for that.
No, like it's terrible.
I've had family members have controversy where I'm just like, I can't back you on this. I mean, you did something wrong. Like, and it wasn't to this degree, but where they broke the law, and I was like, no, like I'm loyal to you, and I'll be there for you, but I'm not helping you with this and asking me, because my stance is, if a friend asks you to lie for him, that's not a friend.
No, it's not. Like they're only thinking about themselves, not about the friendship. So
I also think that not just asking for, but trying to keep secrets. That's why either people love me or they get pissed off with me, because I never shut my fucking mouth. I don't have secrets. My stress all comes from the fact that I can't stop. Like I keep doing all the shit I can do. Secrets, no, I'm good. I don't care. Like usually I'm just like, fuck it, here you go. In fact, there are some secrets that I do have, but I'm using them as a time bomb one day, like where if I'm in a family reunion. I'm not like that's my thing. Like I would never have
stockpile.
Because think about it, like you have a friend cheating on his wife, and he's asking you to cover for him. How is that fair to you?
And that's the thing. That's why you just if you can't say that shit, or if it comes out, look that shit in the fucking face and go, yup. Just because you was keeping it DL or you was keeping it quiet, that because it's none of nobody's business. But when that shit comes out, you can't just be like, "That's me," and what? Then you probably shouldn't be fucking dealing with it or doing it.
No.
Yep.
It's very simple. It's they say what you mean what you say, carry yourself with integrity, be a person of character.
What you mean what you say. I like
That's
that.
it. That's it. It's very, very simple. Very simple.
How you end up with takes like Jurassic Park is overrated.
Who the fuck? Who is your brother right now?
Listen, Jurassic
Putting
Park.
down. Ward just slandered. I thought your brother. I read it wrong. I thought your brother just slandered Stevie Nicks.
No, well, isn't she in Night of the Demons? Isn't that what's on? I don't know the movie, so.
Is Stevie Nicks in Night of the Demons? Yeah. Oh, so okay. So Chris, so you're not in a different realm. We're watching. We both have Joe Bob on right now.
Yeah, I'm always in a different realm. You kidding me? I'm always in a different realm.
It is true. Every time I see you, the camera changes, and I'm like, "Where are you?"
It's getting darker. I'm like, "What's going on here?"
He's turning into horror. That's why he's the worst damn gamer, because everybody is scared to watch him because they're like,
Sorry, they start looking, and then suddenly, like something jumps out at them.
Welcome. We don't. Make sure to cover that light up. He's like, see the bodies.
It's so funny because like everybody has like this wall, and I literally like, so this is in my basement, and I just have the entire basement's light dedicated to how it looks on the camera. Like everybody else has this stuff like compartmentalized. I'm like, nah, whole fucking basement, whatever. Like anytime I'm on this camera, whether it was my show, Mick's show, anybody, like it's like, nah, everybody else has got to go upstairs. Nobody gets to be in the living room. It's my office. There's no door. My office is just like attached to the living room. And so like, I'm like, nah, nobody else can be down here. See you guys. I'm just going to be
how that works?
What's that?
And you know how that works? And I think I can speak truth to this. You don't have any kids.
We don't have any kids. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I love being a father. I finally learned what love is through being a father.
It's those tax returns.
But besides all that, when I watch your fucking, pictures and shit, and you send me those texts, like, and it's like Friday night, and you're picking out a beer at a brewery, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. Like, I'm going to football practice right now, and I'm gonna sit in my car and play on my phone.
Everybody has.
I'm jealous of you. I purely know this is envy and stupidity.
Yo, here's what you do. You want to be the dad at these fucking sport practices. You get the cooler full of water bottles that are filled with hard seltzer for the adults, okay? And you just start handing those out one by one to somebody that looks like their hair is all out. They had a rough day. You see them stressing, yelling at their kid. Just hand them a fucking hard seltzer. You're good.
Go home and drink
water bottle.
Actually, that would
go
be
ahead.
funny.
You got an hour and a half before these little motherfuckers are done. They're not going to do anything anyway, so you might as well have one of these and relax.
I wish it wasn't illegal to do that, because I would dress up like a doctor and call myself Dr. Feelgood or something, and I'll run around every time they're flipping out. It's like, have a drink, hard seltzer. It's like, this is my prescription for you, and then just like roll on to the next person and just like party it up in the sidelines.
Bro, there's this YouTuber that I watched that his whole channel's about growing, right? And he fucking literally takes everything that he does and he rolls up or whatever and then just walks throughout the city and just hands out fucking doobies to people and like tell them I love you and shit. It's fucking hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about the Dave Portnoy shit?
The who what?
I don't know anything about it, Mick. So can you fill me? You posted about it today. Is there?
I don't know what you're talking about. Does this involve a folding chair?
Do either of you know who David Portnoy is?
I do.
Can't say that I do.
Yeah. So Dave Portnoy is probably the most successful fucking podcaster of all time, because he started Barstool Sports, right?
Okay.
It's like a whole bunch of shows under one blanket, kind of like what I'm doing, but like way better, So like but not as entertaining. 2 thumbs up. So So he started Barstool Sports, it grew. Like, it's a huge entity. He's just a shit talker. He's a Boston guy, but he's also like lived in New York for so long, so he's an asshole. Like
it's compounded. It's like interest.
Dude.
It's compounded.
That's why
It's
when
like
I talk
your
to you,
401k.
sometimes my fucking jersey comes out. So, and now it's really going to come out because I'm talking about Dave Portnoy, and that fucker's got an accent. So,
what are you talking about?
So Dave Portnoy, one of his most successful shows was it was like One Bite Pizza. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but he goes into different pizzerias, small businesses all over the place. He buys a whole pizza pie, and he takes a bite of one slice, and then he reviews it based on that. And he usually does he usually does it really, not high, but he does pretty good. He doesn't really tank anybody. And he's helped a lot of small businesses. I will give him that in terms of pizza stuff. Well, he's in message. Do you just want to see it?
Sure.
Let me pull it up. Like,
pull it up. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know. All I know about Portnoy is sports betting. So all I know about Portnoy is sports betting.
Well, I can't pull it up because I realized like last week we got reported for what's his name, Mr. B. So I don't want to pull up Dave Portnoy now. So although he'd probably be cheering me because I'm like, no, I'm for Dave Portnoy on this. So what happened was he went to some place called Dragon Pizza in up in Massachusetts somewhere. I don't know where. And what he does is he buys the pizza, he comes out, he takes a bite, and he starts reviewing it. And he's like, yeah, it's a little Parmesan-y. It doesn't look as good as it did. And he's giving a good review of it. And people are, of course, because he's famous, are coming up and talking to him. He talks to people or whatever. And the owner comes out, and he goes, Dave, enjoy your pizza, but I got to ask you to get out of here because I don't like you. I don't like you. And he was the aggressor. He came at Dave Portnoy and started with him. Dave Portnoy, in pure big dick energy, turns around and goes, fuck you. And he goes, this pizza sucks. It gets us sick. and it was hilarious, first of all, because Dave wasn't trashing the place.
Yeah.
He was like, it's a little Parmesan for me. I don't like it as much, and it's a little flip-flop. It was everything he was doing, like, I'm like, I get it. I actually kind of understand that.
Right.
And whatever, once he's outside the store, he can review. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and call the police if you want him out of there. Don't curse him out. But this guy came out and was like, I think you tear apart small business. You're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And that's when Dave Portnoy was like, fuck you. He's like, fuck this guy. Fuck Dragon's Pizza. And like, it was just hilarious how he did it. But the reason I was for it, like, listen, Dave Portnoy's an asshole. I'm not saying to respect the guy.
Yeah.
Business-wise, I get it. I mean, and the guy just bought the company back for $1. He sold it for $800 million and bought it back for $1.
Huh.
He's now the CEO again of the company he started that he sold for that much money, and he kept everything.
Yep.
It's fucking insane. So from that point of view, I got a lot of respect for that. But as sometimes how he talks, how he treats people, no, it's not cool. But yeah, so that was what happened with Dave.
That's insane. Like, why even come at him?
It's just why? That's my thing. Like, he was the aggressor. Like, I understand maybe you don't want him in front of your call cop.
Yeah, but he's also drawing people now and kind of into the front of your store.
Yeah.
Whether he's saying, hey, it's a 6 or not, they're going to go, oh, you're bugging. I've been here before. I love this pizza. Or, you know what? Really? It's that bad? And then they might come inside and just buy one.
And
you know what I mean? Exactly. So leave that motherfucker out there. Buy him a goddamn fucking tent to keep him out of the sun or something. Let him be out there all fucking day. Have him try everything on your menu.
100%. It's the fucking crazy part of it is you see it in the video. He's talking to a lot of people. He's famous now. He's huge.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people come up to him, hey, this, that, and the other thing, and he's like, yeah, I don't like the pizza. It's Parmesan, it's flip flop. He's letting them taste the pizza. He's letting them taste it, and then sometimes they're going in and getting their own. And there was like 5 people that went in after they talked to him. So. And I don't think they were headed there.
Right. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. I mean, regardless of whatever you think, like,
That's where the mentality of the business owner there just isn't correct, because no publicity is bad publicity, especially if you ain't doing nothing illegal or nothing. Like, the guy's got a crowd outside your store. Okay, let him trash talk it. Let them find out for themselves. Oh, he's even giving out samples of my shit that he already paid me for, and it's not costing me a thing. I've already made profit on it, and now I'm getting even more free advertising. I'm sorry, you don't understand marketing and business. You need to kick rock.
I completely agree with you, except one thing.
What's that?
One small thing. Sometimes bad publicity is not good publicity.
Yeah, you know what?
In the case of Subway.
Okay. He was eating a little too fresh, I guess.
I can't laugh at that.
Yes, you can. Because the fuck that scumbag.
Like,
to be fucked up.
I don't know. Fellas, I gotta wrap it up. It's been a long day.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up myself. I wanna go spend some. My wife looks really good, so I'm gonna go and like try it.
Short Mick Nite.
That's all right. We'll be back next week. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be a ball. Oh, dude.
Now do your homework so that we can fucking do one of these Mandela or Miyagi lines.
We forgot to play the movie. We'll have to play the movie game next week.
Yes, we didn't play the movie. Well, we'll have more people next week. So so next week we'll do that. But real quick, Chris, did you see the new intro for the show?
No. That's why I was like, wait, they're on already? When I came on, I was like, what time did you guys fucking start?
I really wanted to play it
early. Mick kicked it early.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, sir. Mick at Night. It's such a delight. Hey, everybody, it's Mick at Night. Filmed live in front of a studio audience.
Well.
I don't know why I'm so proud of that, but I am.
Mick at Night.
All right, kids.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. Take care. Love you guys. Like,
come check out some Fort.